In this session, we sit down with Evan Rogovin, Director of Bands at Dreyfus School of the Arts, and Scott Houchins, Choral Director at Palm Beach Central High School, to discuss some of the challenges you might face with virtual music education and how to navigate them. Are there any difficulties or obstacles that you guys are anticipating, like going into this, as far as virtual learning is concerned?
Evan, I'll let you take that first.
Well, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
I think that the challenge that's going to be, and we mentioned transition is yeah, when you do virtual learning, when we did it at the end of last year, it was a lot of building the airplane while we flew, so to speak, and it wasn't really at the forefront of our mind that we were going to be doing that when we started the school year. This year is unique because we're starting the school year online. And I think obviously with the directives we're hearing from the FDOE, we're gonna have a lot more FaceTime, which presents its own problems. Because like for last year, I was able to say, okay, on Mondays, I'm gonna meet with the trumpets. On Tuesday, I'm gonna meet with the clarinets, et cetera. And I was able to take a class of 70 and reduce it to, at the most 12. And we would play for each other and critique each other and play excerpts and etudes. But now with having to have more FaceTime, like in Palm Beach County, I believe that half the time we have to be in front of kids.
Yeah, 20 to 24 minutes.
Right. Depending on the length of the class. And then what do we do with the rest of the time? We can direct them. They can have self-directed learning. But my concern is I'm not going to be able to break up my teaching into the small chunks. So just having to figure that out within the framework of, well, we have to teach all 67 kids in the band for the first 50 minutes or the last 50 minutes of a long block. Whatever they tell us, whether we can front load it or back load it. So the challenges are tailoring an instruction. How do you individualize instruction if you're maximizing the amount of kids you have to have on the screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it from a different aspect. At least in chorus, there's a huge part of that is the team building and the community building within the ensemble, and then from the early levels of chorus, and I guess it's the same in band, but the community building, especially at the chorus one level, the first year level, is so important to carry that on. It's a foundational thing for us for the 4 years that they're in chorus. So if we have 30 or 40 seniors, we started out with 40 or 50 or 60 freshmen that we lost numbers for curriculum reasons or attrition or for whatever. They moved away. And if we don't have that community building time, that's going to be so difficult too. And how do you build that in virtually? How do you have time where they can get to know each other? Because it's not like we give everybody a chance to talk online. It's they build community together while you're singing, while you're playing. I mean, we're not going to have that the same way virtually. So that's going to be a challenge.
I think those are great points. And the other thing that makes it challenging is bringing in a new class of freshmen or new students and not getting them to meet not only their peers in their grade, but the leaders of the program personally, face to face. That's a challenge. So whenever we do, God willing, end up back in the classroom, whether it's this fall or next year, it's going to be an easier transition. I don't know, because then it's almost be like the first day of school really, because the kids are just going to meet each other physically, because they're just going to know each other from little squares on the screen.
Yeah, and our veteran kids will, it'll be 6-8 months, maybe even up to a year, since they've last seen each other face to face.
Right, and exactly, and And so what I've already started doing is the last 2 weeks, I sent an email and I made a Google form scheduler, and I've given my students the option of having online lessons with me. So I've had 2 weeks now of online lessons, not a ton. I say like maximum of 8 one day, but mostly about 5 or 6. And it's allowing me to get to know, especially the new kids, face to face, in a professional music setting, and allowing me to hear them and work with them. So in a way, that's the way I'm trying to do it. And then moving forward, me and the officers are going to do is we're going to have a session where my leadership for next year meets with the new kids as an FAQ, like icebreaker online.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that me and the students have already discussed about, at least trying to integrate the new students into the program and make them feel welcome, because it's not going to happen physically, which is totally bizarre. Never.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have ever thought that you would have to start a school year where the kids don't get to meet each other?
Right. Well,
that's like the trials and tribulations of like the first day of school. Everybody's like feeling each other out. Everybody, it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's much like the seniors lost graduation and all the things at the end of last year. The newest kids are losing that first day of a new school. I'm going to high school experience, which, is a whole thing that I'm sad that they're not going to get. But hopefully they'll get it at some point. But
right.